Hey, Roger, where is everybody?
They already shot it.
Wait, what?
Guys, so check it out. George and Roger aren't here the day after Thanksgiving. So, Lauren, not Shades, and Ryan, come on in here, Ryan, real quick. I know you're manning the camera, but just come on in here. So, Lauren and Ryan and I decided that we would take over the Not So Round Table. Sorry, George. So you guys know how the Not So Round Table works, and you've been on here before.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
no, technically.
You've never
been on here before.
Been on here.
I think your brother.
I don't know what we call him.
Yeah, he was on here. But so you guys put questions in the comment section in the previous video. Those get collected and put in our helm of reasoning, and then we answer them to the best of our ability, or lack thereof.
Yes.
And happy Thanksgiving to all you that were here in America celebrating that, and if you weren't, missed out on some turkey.
Or ham. Or tofurkey.
Oh, God. Tofurkey.
Yep.
Do you want to start it off?
Sure, I guess.
Yeah, the honorary words.
Piez1234 asks, Dear Insert, if Roger was a girl, would you date her? Yes, because Roger has the manliest of assets, a beard, and I can only imagine how that would be translated in woman form. But I'm married, so I guess I couldn't.
Like a really hairy woman?
Imagine a woman with Roger.
Just woman Roger with beard.
Maybe I rescind that comment. Maybe no. If she had the beard, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like Roger, if you've ever seen him without his beard, has a very square,
suave,
square.
So even if you took out his beard, you'd have that break of a face.
No, Roger, because I know you're gonna see this. I wouldn't date you if you're a woman.
To answer the question, would I date Roger if he was a woman? I love you, Roger. I don't think we'd get along dating. You're very intense, man. Very intense.
Maybe he'd be like that chick on the meme, like the super attached girlfriend.
That's what I'm saying. Like, hey, you're awake. I made pancakes.
Why won't you call me? Yeah,
I went way farther with that than.
Yeah.
I don't know why breakfast was. Oh no! All right. Shadowcross666 says, "Hey, insert and possible guest." Well, it's just you and me, so, and maybe Roger, or maybe Ryan, or whoever you are. I don't know.
Roger.
I was wondering, have you ever seen a vehicle-mounted minigun or squad support gunner using a minigun at a milsim or milsim-like event? Would you ever use a minigun? Love the show. You guys are awesome. I think, did the Armadillo have a minigun in it?
I think it did. I thought it did.
So, I mean, I haven't personally used one, and I may or may not have seen one before, but it would have been on like one specific thing.
Yeah.
Some of the milsim events that we go to have a amount of ammunition capped. For a support weapon, even if it's mounted to a vehicle, like when we run our 240, we're limited to, 5,000 rounds?
Depends on the event, but yeah.
Okay. So when we're limited, I mean, a minigun would go through those very quickly. And, I mean, it's not the most accurate thing in the world, so.
No, I mean, I've been shot at with a minigun before, and it's no fun, but yeah, it's not terribly accurate.
Right.
There was one event, it's usually John Liu, I think Lion Claws every year. They bring out like this little vehicle, and they used to have 2 miniguns.
I thought that's not the Armadillo.
No, the Armadillo was Jet's thing. The little Aerostar van or whatever.
Oh, no. I was thinking of the little thing with the 4 wheels.
Yeah. I forgot what he calls that, but it had 2 miniguns, and then now, because I guess that was way overpowered, he has 1 minigun and a rocket launcher. So
That's still pretty OP.
It's pretty deadly.
Yeah.
No fun.
But getting shot with a minigun sucks.
Yeah, it does. I remember the first time was about 10 years ago for me. Some guy's across a ravine, and I see him pointing his gun. I'm like, yeah, he'll never hit me. And then all this just rain of BBs. And then I just hear the bzz, bzz. I'm like, no.
Hide behind this small rock.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, pretty much.
Would I like to see more miniguns mounted to vehicles?
Dude,
Yes.
minigun at Broken Home on the helicopter.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That's what we need to make happen.
We should make that happen. Cool. Let's go for this big one.
It'd be so dangerous.
Yeah.
It'd be so ridiculously dangerous. All right.
Bubba DFPD asks, "Hey, insert. Looking for a fun question, eh? I got one for you.
Are you
Out
Canadian?
of all the South Park characters, yeah, Canadian. Out of all the South Park characters, Cartman, Kyle, Stan, Kenny, Butters, etc., who would you choose to be on your airsoft team or as an airsoft buddy, and why? And what kind of loadout would you give them and why?" You don't really watch South Park much, though, do you?
No.
I have been graced with every season of South Park.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the most qualified to answer this question.
Man, that's hard to say. I'd probably go with Kenny, because
Okay.
Kenny's pretty badass.
Really?
Yeah, Kenny's badass.
But I seem to
you wouldn't
remember
know
everyone killing Kenny.
Well,
right?
Kenny used to die all the time. But
Oh.
if you go to like the newer seasons, they got rid of that gag.
Okay.
He doesn't die anymore. He's actually pretty cool.
Okay.
I would never go with Cartman, because Cartman would basically stab you in the back. Yeah.
Okay.
Cartman would stab you in the back.
Who's the one that stutters all the time?
That's God, what's his name? Yeah, no, it's Jimmy. It's Jimmy, because there's Timmy and there's Jimmy. Timmy's in the wheelchair. Jimmy's the one with the crutches. Wow.
I would take
audience,
Jimmy.
Yeah.
I would
That
take
guy.
Jimmy. I would.
Jimmy is pretty.
Having
amazing.
only seen a few episodes, I would take Jimmy and give him a rocket launcher.
Dude. Yes.
Just send him out to be a distraction.
Wow. You guys are great.
Is that how you talk?
Something like that. Yeah.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a great audience.
Wow.
Oh man.
Eventually, you guys are gonna have to pick a show that I watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I should let you borrow. I have every season on DVD, thanks to Jen. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Jacob Tester, a dear insert and possible guest. Okay, I want a gun most people don't have, and I want it to be unique. Also, great work, guys. Love the show. You want a gun that most people don't have, and I want it to be unique.
The Halo rifle. I mean, the rifle that cannot be named.
Yeah. The CB-88 that didn't exist.
The Master Chief gun that was never made.
The thing with the LEDs that was made that has a round counter that doesn't exist. It doesn't.
That's pretty unique. That's more unique than a pulse rifle now, because the pulse rifle used to be like legit, because it was just a kit. But not saying that it's not cool. I still think it's pretty awesome. But I think the.
But even then, the pulse rifle doesn't have the feel of the. Like the CB-88 feels.
Yeah, it's pretty hefty.
Right.
Yeah. I think it because the gearbox on the thing's massive. It's like a brick.
Oh.
It was all custom made. Yeah, we got to take a couple apart and it's just like.
Okay.
Anyway.
What about something that they could purchase?
I guess it depends on what you're looking for. Do you want obviously you don't really care about fitting into a specific military simulation role or squad type thing.
The only requirement was uniqueness.
I mean, what's been out for a long time but is pretty unique is the Galil. Not many people have the Galil, and I think it's pretty cool because it's, it's a real weapon. People actually use them out there in the world, and
That's true.
The magazine's cool. It's very AK-like, so you can find pouches for it. Kind of a mix between AK height and M4 profile. Very unique. Couple different good brands make them. I think there's ICS and I think G&G, but I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'd say Galil.
I think ICS.
Is it just ICS?
King Arms.
King Arms?
King Arms,
Oh, King
yeah.
Arms. Okay.
Thanks, Ryan. The memory on that guy. Memory of a goldfish. I would suggest something. I think I've talked about this before. I don't see that many people with them now, but maybe that's just because of the events that we go to. I don't see that many people with G3 variants.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest older style weapons in the book, and
Yeah.
there are companies that still make them. So if you want to be unique with something that has a large magazine capacity that functions really well and is compatible with version 2 and version 3 gearbox parts, G3 you can't really go wrong. It's just like a bigger, better feeding MP5.
Yeah, they're pretty legit.
with magazines that are about 200 rounds even in high capacity mode.
Yeah. Yeah, no, G3 is pretty good.
And then put a swordfish front end with a Nitro Vo top rail and make yourself a marlin.
Well, you're thinking about like the little G3 then.
Oh yeah, my FS51, my G&G FS51 that I bought in 2008.
Jeez. Yeah, I think my first rifle was an H&K variant. It was a TM G36. So.
G36. There aren't a whole lot of people running G30. Well,
it depends on what circles you're running.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the G36 is a great gun. I never had problems with it, 10 years ago, and I know people don't really have problems with them now.
I think the biggest drawback for like going with like uniquely shaped guns, especially ones that have unique magazines, is especially with like the G36 is because they've got the nodes on the side. The same thing with the SIGs.
It's mag pouch.
Mag pouch issues.
Well, they make. I know we carry almost M4 profile style like G36 mags.
Right.
So they'll tuck in better. They still have that little like notch because you have to.
Right.
But actually, you don't rock the G36 in, but it still has that little like notch around.
It is. Yeah, you click it and then.
Yeah. So they make better magazines for them that aren't quite like the real thing that fit in more pouches. But you're right. The other thing too is you have to consider, uniqueness versus being able to rely on other people for a spare mag. But if that's not your concern.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that was.
Yeah.
That was a consideration at all.
Cool.
You want to grab the next question?
Sure. I'll grab another. Let's go for this guy.
Pump up the jam.
Barnaby Smith asks, Dear Insert, what are your most catastrophic gear/gun failures that happened in game?
Most catastrophic.
Well now.
All right, so I have a feeling this is going to relate back to your Daytona.
Well, no. You know what? Actually, in game, I never really had any crazy catastrophic problems with it.
Okay.
It was cool. Huh?
Because you never got it to a game.
Hey, shush now.
No, he took it to a game.
No,
we took it to a game.
I took it to like so many games.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, we took it, I was with you at Faded last year, you took it.
Yeah, I took it to Faded.
Yeah.
It worked really well. I took it to New Horizon a couple years ago. It worked really well. I took it to Red Storm West, where I started to have O-ring problems. That's off the record. But yeah, I would never say I had a catastrophic failure. Not with that gun.
Okay. Worst failure then?
God, I don't know. It was probably gear related.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what it was. Actually, I've always had really good luck with stuff. But I also am of like that kind of ethos of check all your stuff before you go somewhere. Like everything, your gear, all of it, make sure everything works.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I totally do that.
Yeah.
Before events.
Well, didn't you have something like your cummerbund? Like
I was gonna say, yeah. Okay, so I've had two catastrophic. Well, I've had several catastrophic failures with guns. I've had piston strip. That's not a catastrophic failure, but that kind of takes your gun out of the game for the day, unless you can open the gearbox on the field. I've had a set of gears strip, which sucks, and a pinion head strip because back then we were trying to go fast, and you know what happens when you try to go fast.
Yeah.
More recently, gun failure wise, we were at Faded Giant this year, and I leaned my sling failed. My Magpul sling failed because it was the older style that has like the really slick, and it just came off of its thing. So rather than drop it and throw the grenade that I had to throw, I leaned it against the wall to stabilize it. I put my knee into it to hold it. We couldn't get the banger through the door because the door we couldn't get open. So then I'm holding a live banger grenade. So I like pivot to throw it, snap my buffer tube. Because I leaned into it too hard.
Clean off.
Yeah,
Man.
like clean off. And then I'm standing there in the middle of a firefight, like crying and holding my receiver and my stock in two separate hands. And the battery just kind of like flopping out of my stock. Like, oh, I'm done, guys. Bye. And then gear-wise, catastrophic failure. I had the elastic, the 6-inch tall elastic on my cummerbund for my vest tear away. When I was being dragged to be mediced earlier this year.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we ended up changing the design of the vest to incorporate the 1/4-inch bungee. What is that? Shock cord.
Yeah, shock
instead
cord,
of the elastic. So it's a more it's a replaceable one.
Yeah.
And two, it's a more positive retention other than relying on like a thin piece of elastic. Because
Nice.
the thing about elastic is as you know, it's strong stuff until you stitch through it to attach it to something.
Yeah,
Because then the stitching cuts through, half of your elastic lines.
Yeah, I don't know how they. I think they just do like really thick stitching to get around that normally. But
Yeah, or
even
like
then-
offset maybe.
Yeah. And actually, I take it back. I did have a pretty bad failure when using my Daytona gun because it was my tank that had the issue. So I'm running along, and all of a sudden I just hear this kink, and I feel air. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, get it out. Pull it out, and I guess one of my burst discs failed because that happens. Just make sure you maintain your tanks.
Is the burst disc there?
As a safety,
okay,
yeah.
so-
So there's two. There's
So
a high.
technically it worked.
It worked, yeah. There's a high side and a low side. So basically, if you overpressurize your tank, the high side goes off. If your regulator is not working well or it needs to be maintained or rebuilt, that's the low side. So if that ever happens to you, just go to your local paintball shop or airsoft shop that knows about HPA stuff. Have them get the parts and work on it. And it's a dangerous thing if you don't work on them without knowing what you're doing. That's a really high pressure. But yeah, in my case, I just bought the parts and replaced it. But yeah, that was pretty bad. It wasn't could have been worse, but it wasn't good.
I feel like I would have seriously injured myself in that situation.
It's possible, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. What do you think? Last question?
Up to you.
My dexterity is going so well. I'm changing this one because George isn't here, so this is going to be you and me.
Okay.
John Ongst asks, Hey Matt and Lauren, who is your childhood hero? Who was your childhood hero? Now, I'm gonna kind of modify this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily. I'm gonna say that it doesn't necessarily have to be a non-fictional person. So,
Okay.
did you have a childhood hero, fictional or in real
Yeah,
life? Because I know some people, were very inspired by it.
Yeah.
So yeah, childhood hero.
Oh man, that's tough. Well, it's hard to say. I grew up with racing, so one of my childhood heroes was Al Unser Jr.
How did I know it was going to be a race car driver?
Yeah. Al Unser Jr. And for no particular reason other than he won a lot of races and drove fast. So, how about you?
I was going to say Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime. Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's not though.
How's that
My
not
childhood
good?
hero was a creation by Mattel to sell toys. Or is it
Something wrong
Hasbro?
with
I don't remember.
Hey man, he stood for all that is good and
He did.
pure.
Dude, I cried when the Matrix in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Do you have a hero now?
Oh man. God. It's hard to say. I don't really have anybody that I'm like, oh my God, they're like the person that I look up to. Like Ryan, I love you so much, Ryan. I love you. I love you so much, Ryan. But no.
This isn't creepy at all.
Yeah, not creepy. I don't know. I mean,
I do.
Okay.
I've got a guy that I look up to.
Who's that?
Mike Rowe.
Mike. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? Mike Rowe's pretty awesome.
I mean,
Mike Rowe's awesome.
talk about a guy that's willing to do
Do
everyone's
you follow his Facebook?
I do.
Dude, he's so
Well-written.
well-spoken,
Mhm.
well-written. Yeah, very poignant.
Works hard. He's your quintessential
Yeah, he knows how to roll trolls off no problem. Oh, that's cool. You're coming at me with a troll, question or
Yeah.
problem. Look, you guy. I'm gonna write out this entire essay that directly, addresses
yeah.
everything in a well-mannered way. Not crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for Mike Rowe. Yeah, I have to agree. Yeah,
Mike Rowe. I know it's not a dirty job. Come play Airsoft with us.
should. That'd be fun.
that'd be intense.
That'd be awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning into this commandeered episode of the Not So Round Table. Ryan, you want to come over and say goodbye with us so we can do this wave thing, like the Thanksgiving Day parade? He's just like, why? Okay, thanks for joining us on this episode of Insert. We'll see you guys later. Bye, George and Roger.
Bye.